Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. We're on Canis River, the greatest real-time strategy and one of the better maps. And on this one we got Aeon with Congreve somewhere top 20 on the ladder. Mozart, Sirens also somewhere top 20 on the ladder. Very heavy map in terms of mass extractors, especially in the early position. Very unusual 6. It's as many as you'll ever get. And quite a bit of reclaim as well in these rocks. Aeon definitely early advantage with a Tech 1 Auroras and Scouts. Cybern can do quite a few different counters, but if they decide to just go Tech 1 tank versus Tech 1 tank, they will most likely lose. Of course, the Medusa, the Tech 1 Arty, might give them an advantage. Early Hunter from Mozart. And a Scout from Congreve. Scout's quite a bit cheaper. Congreve deciding to just spot the threat. Mozart will be, and Petrich. This is nice, people are naming their Scouts. We've seen Napalm pull off the Swackle. Let's see if Petrich can outdo Swackle. And here, this is some of the early advantage for Aeon. The Scout can go on water, unlike the Scout for Cybern, which does have cloaking ability. And who's this? This is not Petrich. No, this is another Petrich Pawns. Alright, Petrich Pawns just split into two here. Two different groups of Petrich Pawns. That's perhaps to confuse everybody, including Congreve. But Congreve's engineers, early threat here. This could be a first big kill, expanding engineer to the top side. Also, the second Petrich is going after Congreve's ACU after the Hydro, given that Congreve chose the build order. On here, actually, one such a lucky engineer, 1 health left. Petrich Pawns dies once. Let's see if he dies twice. Escapes against Congreve's ACU, which is quite nice. So Mozart early on did a lot of aggression and didn't really pay off for him. Very good defense from Congreve. And yet another Aurora is now going to chase down Petrich. And a 1 health engineer with this with an escort of a single Aurora, which now has 2 kills. Go ahead and continue taking over mass extractors on the right side. And actually on this map, this is one of the maps where expanding is actually not that critical. It is still critical, but those first 6 mass extractors plus the amount of reclaim that you get, you can't afford not to expand and do a little more teching. Some people actually keep their ECU at the base for a long time, but get a bunch of factories. Congreve here, a very unusual place to put factories. Let's see how that works out for him. Still no air from anybody. Looks like all out land. And quite a number of things happening. We do see the Manti, which are outranged. They do have the speed. Now this is what happens. Manti don't get to shoot, they just get shot at. And this is very important. A radar for Congreve here, minute 4. This radar, actually really nice radar coverage for Congreve, and with the radar Auroras, extremely powerful. Looks like a point defense. This is a common place to put a point defense for either side here to stop any forces trying to get through the back door. See if that's successful. Definitely a superior force for Mozart on the left and on the right. Successful defense from that group of 3 Manti. 2 ACUs meet each other in the middle. Still vying for those reclaim opportunities. Let's actually see what the reclaims are. 700 for Congreve, Mozart at nearly identical from both players. And here, point defense more than halfway done. 250 mass, already nearly 200 invested. And yeah, that was a big loss there for Congreve. Very nice Manti denying that point defense. Up on top, we also see a similar point defense will be built eventually by Mozart. Both players very close in terms of power production. Air Factory is planned for Congreve here low after minute 5, and maybe perhaps surprising that Mozart decided not to go for air. And another thing we got to look for is when Mozart will begin to put in Medusas into his forces. So far it's all Manti. And now a successful point defense from Congreve. See, without any Medusas, definitely not a good idea for attack from Mozart. On the other side, the Auroras pretty much taking map control. Yep, map control for Congreve. Congreve able to deny the 2 mass extractors on the left, while having a very solid position on the right. Quite a bit of reclaim now. Total loss. So first major battle, gotta say, has gone to Congreve. There were some successes for Mozart. And a point defense in the middle for Mozart. Very unusual place, but makes total sense when you're playing against A. And also a radar here for Mozart. Because Auroras love to sneak through the middle. Shouldn't be a surprise for Congreve, who has so much mass in the bank. Really not using his mass very well. Still just sitting on 5 factories. Could be in position to start upgrading mass extractors. I don't think he is. He is afraid of losing power. He is making air.
Commander under attack. Commander under attack.
No air yet for Mozart, who is using all of his mass. He's got a total of 5 factories as well. And actually looks like, in terms of power, just a little behind. Congreve ahead in power, but because he is making air. And now power storage. So Congreve a bit ahead in terms of basically everything. He's going to have power storage, he'll be able to overcharge. He's got map control, more mass income by 6 mass extractors, a little more power. Actually, I think in terms of tanks as well. What Mozart has is a couple point defenses, and he's got another one planned. And that is definitely a losing strategy unless you get very good defense and you switch to attacking, and then you might have a chance. And this could be viable here, although, yep, he is going for 1 tech to mass extractor. And this is what these Auroras can do. They can be very annoying. They can jump across that river. On the other side, see, the Auroras are going to try to retreat. And once the Manti get close, they do dominate. This is actually very even. The Auroras will retreat back to the point defense already with 4 kills. On the other side, you see the Auroras escape. 6 kills between those 3 Auroras. And now bombers. Will this be? Yep. Obvious target, the Raider directly in the middle. This should make things a lot more annoying. That Raider was given a lot of good coverage for Mozart. See, Congreve has total recon. He's got units everywhere. So you can decide where to move. This is definitely not where he wants to go. He does have a couple arty. Wants to micro those to take that out. But you can see all these Auroras dying because of the point defense. Here coming up minute 9. So far a very good game. Will this be a successful point defense? Yes. So a series of point defense, 4 point defenses, that's 1,000 mass invested for Mozart. He definitely does not have numbers in terms of units, but he does have time. Mozart here getting the gun. Bit of dangerous position. It looks like one of these point defenses will go down. 11 kills though. Oh wow. Veterancy on that point defense. So far this was, yeah, bombers now. Air Force has been all Congreve. Mozart getting bombed. There were a couple flags. Actually with a few kills as well for Mozart. But I'm not sure if I agree with bombing the ACU in this position. I think bombing this Raider would be nice. Bombing these engineers, which are getting quite a bit of free mass. Mozart 2000 reclaim Congreve, also 2000, but falling behind by about 300. Congreve also getting the gun. So both ACUs are going to get the gun. We don't really see too much Tech 2 yet. We do see some Tech 2 mask tractors. And actually quite a bit of mass going into mask tractors for Congreve. Two players fairly even. It looks like enough has been done by Mozart to deny the mask tractors on the left side. So actually in terms of map control, it's only a slight advantage for Congreve. It's actually the advantage isn't there. Mozart already 11 kills. The gun against Aeon Tech 1 is very powerful. So that early advantage that Aeon had is no longer going to be there. Let's see, where is the ACU for Congreve? Directly in the middle. Looks like he's got the gun, at least one of them. And the Aeon gun, of course, has the longest range. Yeah, he's got both upgrades. He's got the fire rate, and he's got the range. Some overcharge action. And in terms of power, it looks like Congreve is running away. And it looks like a big bomber spam from Congreve. He's trying to use his power advantage somehow. So he's spamming bombers. It's always a good idea. This will be a very important battle. Numbers for Mozart. And actually when units are in this position here, it will be nice to put a couple bombs with that splash. Well, now Congreve running into point defenses, leading with the ACU. 11-12 kills. Mozart will retreat with 17 kills. We'll try to deny Congreve's ACU. As this point defense for Congreve now doing work. There's a little hill there. It has prevented. And now we got simultaneous attacks. See how good this point defense does for Mozart. He just finished some walls for it. As Mozart runs through, he's going to take out a couple factories. Perhaps we'll take out the Hydra. And now bombers for Congreve on the case. This force got to continue to move. There's fervors hitting it. You don't want to get hit by fervors. It's very inexcusable. Up on top. I think this force with the micro from Congreve can do some damage, but it's not being microed. A bit of a lost opportunity there for Congreve. A successful defense for Congreve back at base. As Congreve continues to lead in terms of mass, we see a number of Tech 2 mask tractors, at least 2 for Mozart. Congreve is upgrading a whole bunch. I think I gotta check this. He's already got 3. He's going for 4th. He's actually going 4th and 5th. He's got so much mass. And we're so far still seeing Aeon dominate. Congreve with the gun really cancelled out the gun for Mozart, who's had to move over his ACU for defense. One thing that Mozart might have is the advantage in terms of all the reclaim that happened. Although that hasn't happened yet, but opportunities for reclaim. There is also some for Congreve, but Mozart has quite a bit more, it seems. A fervor, 7 kills in that point defense. Looks like it will be taken out. But a defensive force from Mozart. And now these players, especially Congreve, really going up in eco. As Mozart also, with a really big power spam, probably needs to stop that. He does have an air factory, and he's not really using it. But it definitely a big advantage in terms of mass production for Congreve. He can go ahead and go Tech 2, and he does have Tech 2 Air. And Tech 2 Air is going to be very dangerous. We're seeing some TMD for Congreve. There's a very important engineer. We'll see what this engineer does. Very defensive Tech 2 point defenses. I'm a bit surprised by that positioning. Usually people do a point defense creep, try to get on the other side of the river, or go along the river so you can shoot across, especially against Cyber. be an attempt to attack through the back door, or Congreve will occupy quite a few units for Mozart. Yeah, and engineers on the case here reclaiming. Is Congreve really running away with power? Does he have Tech 2 somewhere? Looks like Tech 2 land now for Congreve. As a couple of Auroras are going to get caught. Perhaps a couple of them will survive that successful defense for Mozart. A little more reclaim. Can take those units and send them on the forward front. And Mozart's got to be thinking this left side could be a possibility for an attack. Not too many units. And Tech 2 radar here for either player would also be very nice. And this could be an opportunity for Mozart, given this very defensive position for Congreve. Mozart might be able to move out, grab a little bit of land. This will be an interesting bombing run. As Mozart gets hit by Tech 2 point defense, so he definitely knows Tech 2 point defense creep is happening. As the battle range is on the left side. Looks like the bombers are going to go against land units. More bombers. Just softening up these Manta for the Auroras. As we're finally seeing interceptors from Mozart. A bit disappointed in the way that Mozart did not use any gestures. Tech 2 engineer, Tech 2 land for Mozart, who's now making rhinos. Tech 2 power planned. And swift winds for Congreve from air. Mercies would be the straightforward way to win this, but it looks like it's going to be gunships. We're also seeing a couple of blazes, and Tech 2 power started as well for Congreve. And gunships now being built up by Congreve. 200 mass for each one of these. And with a bit of micro, those are going to be extremely powerful, especially given all this air support that Congreve has. He's got 1,000 mass invested in these swift winds. And as long as these gunships don't fly over flak, they'll be in good shape. It looks like they're going to be scared away here. Got a bit of Tech 1 flak in that force from Mozart, and now Mozart will be forced to make flak for any of his forces. He's standing in the middle. Perfect opportunity for a couple of mercies. There is a couple of Tech 1 flaks that Mozart can retreat to. Now blazes. Gonna attempt to defend the point defense. Yeah, with a couple specters. See the flag doing the job. At least one gunship died. Really no hope for Mozart's forces to break through. On the other side, we're gonna see the Tech 2 from Mozart. Seeing the Rhino moving in. Blazes in the point defense. Well, the Rhino very powerful. The thing that it doesn't do very well is attack point defenses. And gunships on the case for Congreve. Point defense put up a very good fight, but a loss for Congreve. Now map control seems to be shifting in Mozart's favor. He hasn't upgraded as many Tech 2 mass extractors, it seems. And now an air fight, which should be won as soon as those swift winds get in the right position. That's one thing we got to check. Got 4 Tech 2 mass extractors for Mozart. Imagine quite a few more. Actually, a couple here on the sides as well, so 7 for Congreve. In terms of power, both players sitting on Tech 2 power. More air factories for Mozart. We're seeing 1 Tech 2 power. Looks like still a bomber spam. Bombers and swift winds from Congreve. And Congreve now is going to use his gunships. Surprisingly, there's still live interceptors, at least for a little while. And it looks like power will be the target, although this is not that important given that there is Tech 2 power for Mozart. There is no TMD here, which makes Mozart's base very powerful. If we remember, Congreve built a TMG right away, did not want to lose his Tech 2 mass extractors that he invested in. Gunships retreat, given the Tech 2 flak from Mozart. And Congreve building up more defensive units. As Mozart looks like he will take over completely on the right side of the river, except for the gunships, which are flying anywhere. There is no Tech 2 flak. And nope, that's still just the rhinos. I thought for a second Tech 3 land. Tech 3 land would be an interesting choice for Mozart, although he is a bit low on mass. Although reclaim, still a lot of reclaim possibilities. I think that's one of the reasons he has been staying in this game. Nearly 10,000 reclaim, while Congreve only at 5,500. As the gunship, I think those gunships flew over the wrong place. There was a lot more a few seconds ago. These do have quite a few kills, but will be forced to retreat. As we're seeing Tech 2, very good defensive force and bombers. That was some nice bombing from Congreve. Complete loss for Mozart, nearly complete. Will be made complete by this Tech 2 force. The blazes will move out, plus a couple of obsidians. Blaze is very quick, can't run away from him. The remnants of this force trying to retreat to the Tech 1 point defense. A couple of rhinos actually do survive this, but some nice juicy reclaims, and Congreve takes a foothold on the enemy territory. Will deny quite a bit of reclaim. I think here Mozart could have stayed defensively, moved a couple engineers, and grabbed what was given to him. Instead, he did lose, and now there's a much better position for Congreve, and Congreve with a superior eco really has a fairly big advantage. Still just Tech 2. A lot of engineers here going to get Tech 2 radar. Right next to some power storage. This would be a great target for some bombers. As gunships continue to die, all gunships are dead. There's just Swiftwings now for Congreve. He will retreat. Mozart with the ACU on the enemy territory. There's a couple blazes here. I did not notice they ran quite deep, and I think this could also be a mistake from Congreve. It is good to be aggressive, but sometimes you're just throwing away position. And now this position could be overtaken once again by Mozart once he finishes off those blazes. Still just Tech 2s. Congreve thinking about an upgrade. It's a back upgrade. See what that upgrade is. Can't really tell based on what he's producing. That's interesting. If that's paused or not. Minus 200. So I'm not really sure if what's going on with the ACE here. And I see the engineers are using quite a bit. Looks like it's going to be the shield. This is now a very strong position, defending two Tech 2 mass extractors. As Mozart here, I would expect some mobile missile launchers. Mobile missile launchers, I think, a long time ago, if you would have just kept this position with this Tech 2 force, would have got all this reclaim and start putting pressure with mobile missile launchers, while securing the other side with his ACU just like he's doing. I think he would be in at least an even position. Might even be winning. It looks like those Swiftwings died rather fast. It's all this flak that Mozart had. And I think because Congreve did send that very good looking Tech 2 force up that was lost very quickly, he has given Mozart a fairly good position, although this force is continuing to get bombed. And surprisingly, error now belongs to Mozart. Congreve continues to get this upgrade. without actually using up any resources, it seems, unless there's some glitch which is not showing us. He isn't using his air factory. It does look like he's using quite a bit of power. It might just be that it's not being shown on the ACU. I don't think he's using it over 1,000 power just with this. As once again Mozart gets a little too close with the wrong units, and the Obsidians walk across and get a whole bunch of kills. Where are the mobile missile launchers? And we're not seeing those at all. Mozart sticking with the rhinos as we're seeing bombers coming in. Congreve completes the shield. He now has a very powerful weapon. Aeon ACU with the double gun and shield. I really can take on almost any force. Besides experimentals and large numbers of assault bots like Percy's, which is not going to happen for a long time. 8 cruise missiles for Mozart. This is a big investment, and now they're going to start flying. And this is where the bombers took out the TMD. It will be rebuilt. See how quickly that's rebuilt, but missiles are in the air. As Congreve is going to go on a rampage. See, where did those missiles hit? Was it only a single missile that was launched? Appears to be so. It did get 1 kill. There's another TMD here that's dead. 1 TMD rebuilt, actually 2 rebuilt. This Tech 2 engineer on the case is going to rebuild another. I think some lost opportunities here for Mozart. There's also these Tech 2 mask extractors that he can go ahead and hit once he kills that TMD. Congreve and Mozart are going to meet each other here, minute 27. Huge advantage for Congreve for those shields. And finally some mobile missile launchers for Mozart. Swift Twins doing some scouting. The Tech 1 bombers continue to do their thing. At least 1 pass at a time. Still worth it. Assuming they do drop their bomb. Tech 3 land now for Congreve. These cruise missiles continue to fly, but they will be defended. So TMD rebuilt in time by Congreve. I think there was a moment. Now this TMD taken out. Some really nice targets. There was a moment when a couple of these mask extractors could have been killed, but it was lost by Mozart. It's busy somewhere else. As the Harveys are on the field with no shields, that is a tragedy. And finally, the Tech 2 point defense creep continues out. It's Congreve 32 kills. Congreve with the ACU on the left, Harveys on the right. Harvey, even without the shield, continues to get kills. But the Rhinos might actually, they take out a Harvey. A big loss. That's the power problems for Congreve. Surprisingly, as does. As perhaps the snipe is planned for Mozart, who has now caught up in terms of mass production, actually overtaken. And that's because, cruise missiles successfully take out 2 Tech 2 mask extractors. As Mozart pushes against Congreve, with big Tech 1, Tech 2 force, Congreve will retreat to his Tech 2 point defenses. Mozart really in no position to continue to follow, nearly full health for Congreve. Some Tech 2 bombers attack. Those Tech 2 bombers will be very well used, taking out TMDs, given that there's still a whole bunch of missiles loaded, 10 missiles loaded for Mozart. Mozart does not need to continue to follow. Harveys are going to defend. Perhaps Mozart thinks he can push this force in, and it can move in and take out TMDs, and then he can go with the missiles. But the Harveys are going to take care of it very quickly. Mozart stops, some bombers coming in. And this is really the wrong targets. This ACU has so much health, there's no way you can kill it. You have to kill everything else around it first. And so much air control from Mozart, he can just wipe out all the TMDs and then kill this entire base with his cruise missiles. Instead, now he just took out some tech to flak. Congreve still has a shield. And now this is a good looking force, a bunch of Harveys from Congreve. This game really got pretty intense here over the last couple of minutes. Couple MMLs getting too close to attack the point defense, win anyway. And these bombers on a suicide mission as Mozart is fighting off some Harveys. Dissipate and overcharge, there goes a Harvey. There's a couple Harveys moving in directly at Mozart's base. Mozart does not want to lose these 10 missiles, which he should fire off here shortly. These Corsairs, that's a classic move from Cybern. Corsairs at this Tech 2 stage, taking out TMDs. Those Harveys are outgunned. And Obsidian as well. Now this is a very even game. Mozart really turned it. And after this carnage, I think he could have got a much better advantage. But it is now dead even, except that there is Tech 3 land for Congreve that's running around. 2 Harveys on either side, actually more than 2 here, plus some flak. Flak will be taken out. And now the Corsairs can go ahead and take the Harveys with impunity. Anticipate a lot of swift wins from Congreve. Going to be on the case. Thing about Corsairs, they're very good bombers, but they're not that good in anti-air for a Tech 2 unit. More bombers coming in from Tech 2 flak. TMD is taken out, so that means that Tech 2 mass extractor can once again be killed. But it looks like Mozart is just too busy to use his missiles. That's his best force. Harvey's on the right side, taking out Tech 2 mass extractors. Actually, a couple Corsairs killing these engineers or killing these Tech 2 power would be so deadly. And it's not like there's Tech 3 anti-air here or anything. Mozart losing big opportunities as Congreve reclaiming quite a few units. And TMD built just in time to save a Tech 2 mass extractor. And he has another attack on the left side. And Obsidian. And on land, you gotta say Congreve really getting an advantage. Still not, yeah, finally Tech 3 with bricks on the way for Mozart here, minute 33. And bricks should be able to turn this game around. Except that Congreve has a huge mass advantage. The Harvey's really dominating land, allowing. And Mozart playing a very dangerous game. Moving up against Congreve, who has like 4 times as much health. And he's got shields in support and Harveys as well. There's 2 punch attack 1 units in support for Mozart, which will be thrown at the Harveys, just feeding them. Mozart will walk across the river, and actually a mercy or 2 here could end the game. But Congreve choosing not to use mercies for whatever reason as a Harvey dies. But everything is dead here on the right side. Mozart really just has his main base, which does look quite nice. Well, let's see if the bricks can do something. Bricks plus stealth would be nice, as air is once again taken over by Mozart. Mozart, with all these Tech 2 bombers, has to go after Congreve's main base. Really no choice. No reason to go against this, because that's just impossible to kill. And these 2 flags here have been very successful. 21 kills between them. 2 bricks should be able to control the left side. One thing they do want to avoid is Congreve's ACU, which is really a unit that will kill Tech 3 units for a long time. More bombers for Mozart here, minute 34. As well as Corsairs. Such a nice bombing force. I mean, just go straight up the middle, kill these 2 TMDs. And then these 10 missiles. Finally 5 kills for that missile launcher. Instead, an obsidian is being killed while sacrificing so many units by flying over this Tech 2 flak. Things that are making no sense. And Mozart now way behind in terms of mass production. I don't understand why he's so low. He's still just on 5 Tech 2 mass extractors, while Congreve is... he's actually got a Tech 3. He's got a Tech 3, a whole bunch of mass in the bank. He's got 7 Tech 2s. Has bricks together with Corsairs defending, plus some artillery. Some of the first artillery we've seen. I gotta say, at this stage, Cybern do have the better weapons with the Corsairs, bricks, and Arty. The problem for Mozart is that he does not have the eco. Mozart could be in a bit of trouble here. He needs to overcharge. Actually, it looks like maybe a lost opportunity for Congreve. If Congreve just focused his fire on Mozart instead, there will be no losses. Oh, some friendly fire there. That could have been bad for that brick. As the Tech 3 artillery is going to move into position and start raining fire directly on Congreve's base. Congreve has been, oh yeah, now the shells are flying in. If they could just hit some of these really soft targets, some weak targets. Looks like they're just outside the range. But these 3 arties have no protection. And this is not what you want to do with your air. That's the massacre there. A totally ridiculous situation. Now these Harveys are gonna kill. Oh man, this is very sad. So much sadness. 14 kills for the flak, and the Harveys kill 3 very expensive units, which are about to rain so much. And actually the TMDs are gone. So this is where these missiles need to fire. As we're seeing, Harveys here snuck in directly into Mozart's base and missed this. But I guess they just walked through here and went directly in. They did not kill the missile launcher. Mozart is taking care of the problem, but he did lose a couple of units. And a huge lost opportunity. These missiles could have killed everything here. There was a TMD here, but the Tech 3 mass extractor and now some shields for Congreve. The opportunity is lost. It's really a game of lost opportunities for Mozart. Very disappointing. And now Mozart did have that advantage, but threw it all away. You just saw it fall apart for him, and now air domination for Congreve. And I guess you can say this is the expected result, given the economy advantage Congreve had the whole time. Very well played by Congreve, bringing the game back. Although mistakes from both players, and now the missiles will be fired. They will be too late. So the wrong timing. And Mozart now taking on way too many Harveys, and he will die minute 38. So very good game there. I really like this one. Lost opportunities, but the greatest real-time strategy ever. Really a classic. The concept of classic, which really is lost today. But in history, there's always, when new technologies and new creative people create new things, there's that moment before the masses take over, when classics are created, and that's throughout music, books, whatever. And this is a classic in the video games.